This is going to help you with homework problem 869. In 869, it asks you to graph the equation y equals x squared plus 5x plus 6. So the way we're going to graph this is we're going to find the x-intercepts and we're going to find the y-intercept. Let's start with the easier one. The y-intercept is easier in my opinion. Anytime you have a y-intercept, the x value is always going to be 0. So all I have to do here is I have to plug in 0 for x, and that will give me my y value. So y equals 0 squared plus 5 times 0 plus 6. Well, that's 0, 0 plus 0 plus 6 is 6. So my y-intercept is the point 0, 6. So now I'm going to come over here onto my graph, and I'm going to go up to 6, and I'm going to plot my point and label it 0, 6. Now I'm going to find the x-intercepts. The x-intercepts have a little bit more work to do. They are the points where y is 0. So if you remember, we can plug 0 in for y, and we would get x squared plus 5x plus 6. But since this equation has x's here and here, I can't just undo to solve the way I can do it with a normal linear equation. So instead what I have to do is I have to factor it to get it into factored form, and then I can use the zero product property. So I'm going to factor this, drawing my box and my diamond. The x squared term goes in the bottom left, the 5x term goes in the bottom of my diamond, the 6 goes in the top right. If I multiply these two things, I get the top of my diamond, so 6x squared. So now I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to 6 and add to 5. My only options are 1 and 6 and 2 and 3. And since this is a positive, that means these are going to be the same sign, and since this is a positive, it means they're both going to be positive. So 2 plus 3 gives me 5. That's what I want. 2x, 3x. Remember, it doesn't matter which order you put those in here, and it also doesn't matter which order you put them in when you bring them back over into your area model. Now I'm going to figure out the outside. So I start with x squared. My only options are x times x. If this is x and it multiplies to 2x, that must be 2. If this is x and it multiplies to 3x, that must be 3. So that gives me my factored form of x plus 2, x plus 3. Now I can use the zero product property to help me figure out what the x's are. So zero product property, remember, it says if I have two things that are being multiplied, two or more things, and it equals 0, one of those things must be 0. So that means either x plus 2 must equal 0, or x plus 3 must equal 0. So now I can solve these two equations, subtract 2 from both sides to cancel out this plus 2, and I get x equals negative 2. So there's one of my x-intercepts. Do the same thing over here. Subtract 3 from both sides. That'll zero out that plus 3, and I get x equals negative 3. So those are my two x-intercepts, negative 2 and negative 3. So I'm going to put those in here, negative 2, negative 3. Now I'm going to plot them on my graph, negative 2, negative 3, and I'm going to label them. Negative 2, 0, negative 3, 0. Okay, so here's my parabola. Remember, the vertex is always going to be halfway in between my x's. So it's going to come down somewhere about here, and it's going to go up through the 6, and then in the same fashion go up that way.